evening and welcome to this meeting of the Murfreesboro City School Board for December 9th, 2025. Thank you to all of you who are joining us here tonight and to everyone tuning in elsewhere. We're going to start tonight with our Pledge of Allegiance, and we have 3 students here to lead us. I'd like to call to the front Colton Taylor and Caroline Weaver, who are the council president and vice president at Discovery School. They're both 5th graders. And also Crockett Hale, who is a 5th grader at Irma Siegel Elementary. I'll ask everybody to stand as they lead us in the pledge, and then we'll have our moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
And now our moment of silence. Thank you. All right, board members, you've seen a copy of the agenda for tonight's meeting. Do I have a motion to approve the agenda as printed?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Settles. Any comments or questions? All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the agenda is approved. Communications. Ms. Trail.
Hi, and good evening.
Good evening.
I have a few communications for you, and I know I'm going to leave off a lot, so you'll hear it again in January. We are in the middle of just an incredible season of giving from both our community and our school families. We received generous donations to help support our backpack and food pantry programs. I do want to point out a few of those people. We had many of our faith-based organizations and partners really step up and help us, as well as Republic Services, Scales PTO, the Berkshire Neighborhood, and Irma Siegel. Because of their support, we have ample supply of food for our backpacks right now, and we feel so good about that. I will say when we went to Irma Siegel to collect their donations, that it literally filled our MERV van. It was amazing and just outstanding. Those students were so excited, so thank you. Oh, there you are. Thank you, Ms. Spencer. I was like, well, I know, I saw her earlier. So it was just incredible. We're also in the middle of our season of sharing. So that is really working with our social workers, our counselors, our principals to help really serve our students. Our businesses and individuals have worked together to ensure that students who have needs really do get the joy of that holiday season. Again, a few shout outs, Onward Realty, who has been helping us for years and years and years, the Band of Brothers, Murfreesboro Flower Shop, we're doing Shop with a Cop, where Yo Play gave us a huge donation today, North Boulevard, and so many, many others, making sure that our children are really enjoying the holidays. Also want to thank the Tracy Lawrence Foundation for delivering 100 turkey dinners to Cason Lane Academy and Mitchell Nilsson, ensuring those families had a huge traditional family turkey for Thanksgiving. We enjoy giving those out in the parking lots and seeing those happy faces. Finally, the United Way Giving Campaign just wrapped up for Murfreesboro City Schools. I want to do a shout out to Discovery School. They were the winner this year for having the highest donation per employee. So we appreciate their campaign manager, Lori Turnbow, for really leading the way, as well as all of our other campaign managers across our district. So not only are we receiving lots from our community, but we're trying to give back as well. So, and those are my communications.
Thank you, Ms. Trail. All right, next we're going to have the Best of MCS. Dr. Duke, I will hand this over to you.
Thank you, Ms. Moore, and good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Tonight,
Good evening.
it is my privilege to recognize our Best of MCS honoree for the month of December and to publicly take a moment to thank this employee for the incredible impact she's had both on our district and, more importantly, on our students. And I'm honored to invite Ms. Kelly Blanchard to join me at the podium. Kelly, she's so excited to be standing with it. Kelly has been with Murfreesboro City Schools for 11 years, where she has served as a social worker for 18. So she's been a social worker here in Murfreesboro City for 11. She focuses specifically on our pre-K population to help ensure that our youngest students have all they need to be successful. Since joining MCS, she has worked exclusively with our pre-K, and she will tell you that preschoolers are her favorite little humans. When asked what she loves most about her job, Kelly shared this: "The best part of my job is the part that no one sees, where I get to go into people's homes and really meet them where they are to better understand their lives and their stories. The privilege of working alongside families as partners and trying to alleviate some of the barriers in their lives is what makes this job so special to me." And Kelly here is just a tremendous social worker, but really represents all the work that our social workers do, which is going to meet our families where they are and breaking down barriers so their kids can learn. I think Kelly's words paint a powerful picture of her heart and her deep commitment. But I also want to share what a few others have told me about her, and a story that kind of further illustrates her dedication. Miss Newell, who is our pre-K principal, described Kelly this way. She said, "She is an absolute delight to work with. Her love for children is truly unmatched, and the depth of her care is evident in everything she does. She regularly comes to Cason Lane Pre-K to check on our students and to meet those who need her support, always making their well-being her top priority. She looks out for them from the moment they enter our school system, and it does my heart good to work along someone so deeply dedicated to children." Ms. Fairchild, our special education director, added, "Kelly has been a social worker in our pre-K program for several years, and her dedication has never once wavered. She consistently supports our students and their families, even during their most challenging moments. Kelly is the kind of social worker who steps in before anyone has to ask. She follows up with families, ensures they have what they need, and continually goes above and beyond. More than once," Angela said, "Kelly has called to advocate passionately for families when something needed to be changed or addressed. She remembers every family she has worked with and continues to check on them long after her official time has ended. Kelly is a kind and compassionate person and changes the world for so many of our MCS families." Finally, Ms. Roxana Dove, who is one of our pre-K specialists, she told me that Kelly approaches every interaction respectfully, and her empathy is matched by concrete actions. And I think that's one of the stories that really jumped out to me, is that someone shared with me is about those concrete actions and the power of Kelly's work. Several weeks back, we enrolled a new pre-K student who had special needs, who was currently at that point living in a hotel and had been there for some time. The child had never been away from home or mom, and when the bus came to pick him up, was refusing to get on the bus, as probably most of us would do if that was our first time. Because the child continuously refused to get on the bus, the mother was heartbroken and was afraid she'd have to pull him from the program. But Kelly didn't hesitate. She went to the hotel, she met the bus there, and she rode with him to school that day. Then every morning afterward, she went back to the hotel to help transition him to that bus. And within just a few days, that same little boy was happily getting on the bus, excited to go to school. That's the kind of commitment and care that Kelly Blanchard demonstrates for all of us. Board members, I think those quotes and that story say it all. Kelly is not only an outstanding social worker, but a shining example of what it means to serve our students with compassion, with dedication, and with excellence. She embodies the very spirit of Murfreesboro City Schools by ensuring that every child is truly known, safe, challenged, and empowered. So Kelly, on behalf of our preschool program, on behalf of the school system, and the board, it is my great honor to say thank you for what you do, and thank you for representing the best of MCS. Congratulations.
I'll be quick. I don't even know what to say. Those were the nicest things that was lovely. Thank you for letting me be here tonight. This job is really hard, but there is nothing I would rather do, and I'm honored to do it here. So thank you, guys.
What a heart.
I know.
Right?
Thank you so much, Ms. Blanchard. Those were really nice remarks. I see a little emotion from here.
Yeah, thanks for making us cry.
I know, I know.
Right out of the gate.
All right, next we have Spotlight on Education. We're going to have a science update. Ms. Arnett.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Everybody looks so festive, so cute. I just want to take a moment to say thank you for approving the purchase of our Studies Weekly Science curriculum for our K-5 students. The goal this year has been to make sure we got those materials in teachers' hands early, which we did in May, and then to really provide effective PD from then until now, and that has been ongoing since May through our PLCs and through our science networks that Ms. Taylor Brown, our science coordinator, has led. It has been our hope with the new curriculum that we would have a renewed sense of joy and excitement when it comes to science instruction, and I can say we have it. We definitely have it. Taylor has just been amazing. Dr. Duke and I hear all the time the great things that Taylor is doing, supporting the curriculum, supporting teachers. So I'm just so very grateful for her. But I am so excited tonight that she's going to take just a few minutes to share with you some of our goals for this first semester, first year of implementation, and you're actually going to get to see a little bit of that in action. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Taylor.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening.
For those of you that I've not met, I'm Taylor Brown, Science and Social Studies Coordinator, and so I'm going to share just a little bit about the work we've done around science and implementation of the materials. So over the past several months, we've made meaningful progress, like Sherry said, in strengthening that science instruction across our district. Much of this work has centered on, again, like Sherry said, supporting teachers as they learn and implement that new material, which is Studies Weekly Explore Science. We approached this intentionally, provided structured training, modeling effective use of the resources, and spending a lot of time in classrooms to help teachers understand exactly what a high-quality, student-centered science block should look like. All of this aligns directly with our district's new science mission and vision, which my first day on the job, that was kind of the first initial thing that I implemented, which emphasized that every student should have consistent and regular access to rich science learning. Our mission underscores the importance of students exploring, questioning, and making sense of their worlds. And our vision outlines classrooms where inquiry and real-world problem solving are really at the center. We're beginning to see that vision take shape. Engagement across all classrooms has grown significantly in the short time that we've implemented the materials. Students are more eager to dive into hands-on exploration, and teachers are creating experiences that encourage curiosity and deeper thinking. One of the most exciting shifts that I've noticed in the work that we've done is how teachers have begun to embrace authentic scientific structures. Classrooms are using driving question boards to capture and revisit student thinking, giving students that sense of ownership to their learning. Teachers are providing opportunities for students not to just follow steps, memorize facts, but to design and implement their own investigations, mirroring how real scientists work. Students are also using science ideas to explain everyday phenomena in their world, which show a meaningful move from memorizing information, like I said, to truly understanding and applying it. We're also seeing that renewed enthusiasm that Ms. Arnett mentioned from our teachers. Many have shared with me that this approach to science naturally strengthens their other subject areas, particularly those literacy and math skills, through their reading, their writing, their analyzing, and that structured discussion. It's helping them to see that science is not an isolated block or moment in their day, but as an anchor for critical thinking across the day. Overall, our science classrooms are becoming more vibrant, more inquiry-driven, and more aligned with our mission and vision. We're proud, I'm proud of this momentum and excited to see it continue to thrive. So we appreciate you all. I do have a video to share. I don't exactly know how to get it on the screen. Thank you so much.
I got a question.
Yeah, sure.
Did you take a group to Dollywood?
I did not, but maybe that's something we could look at into the future. But all students have had the exposure to Dollywood through the materials.
Well, there was a question on there, does all carousels go clockwise? Is that true or false?
You know, I'm not sure, but I bet you if you ask a fifth grader, they may be able to tell you that answer.
Okay.
Madam Chair, two things stood out to me.
Yeah.
One was absolutely incredible. That's seeing children raising their hands, talking about being engaged and involved. There was eagerness and excitement in that. That was extraordinary. Another thing that struck me is what you said, learning like real scientists. Someone had said to me that they're seeing too many screens in classrooms in general, not necessarily in MCS. But gosh golly, isn't that how scientists actually work? Don't we use technology and science and screens and incorporate that into other things? This is extraordinary. The momentum is great. Thank you so very much.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Any other? Yes, Ms. Long.
I noticed everything is very cross-curricular. Is that saving time in the classroom? I mean,
Yeah, and honestly, buying back time, I think that the work that we've done around the materials has really allowed teachers to see and understand how building a phenomenon explanation can strengthen the work that they're doing in ELA and even support that. So there is a lot of connections that teachers are starting to make, and it's through the materials that they're able to see that.
that's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question.
Very good.
So is it kind of like a weekly reader? Is that what it is?
It looks like it's
That's
a
what it
weekly
looked like.
reader, but it actually is everything but a weekly reader. So the difference between the weekly reader, where students would be not as engaged, there's a lot more white space on the newspapers. People call them all kinds of things, newspapers, readers, things like that. But really and truly, it's a way for them to capture their thinking. So if they do an investigation, they might write down their observations. There may be a spot during the week that they have an article that they have to read and annotate, but it's all building towards whatever that phenomenon is that they're supposed to explain by the end of the unit.
Okay, and we're using that instead of or in addition to our regular, like a book?
Yes, so it's ultimately the textbook. It's just that every week
Oh.
they get a new newspaper set is kind
Oh,
of what we
I like
have
that.
called them. Yeah.
I do. I like
Students
that.
love them, and it's really cute to see a first grader or a kindergartner open up that big newspaper and then they get lost behind it.
Well, maybe they'll know what a newspaper is now, right? 'Cause,
Yes,
You know,
yes.
they don't know what a newspaper is.
But it's opened up a lot of discussion about that.
Yes.
So as far as what we are funding, you know, as the board, since we're, I think in our minds, we buy textbooks and things.
Yes.
So with this, we're buying the newspapers. Also, I mean, there was a lot of hands-on stuff in this.
Yes, so
Are we-
each-
does each reader come with a set of materials for that week's lesson, or?
Yes, so every teacher gets, and I think the average was about 3 totes per teacher, so they each get 3 totes full of materials. And when they open that kit or that tote, it will have a baggie that says exactly what they need for each week. So if they begin to start a unit, they will pull out that bag that has the materials for that unit. And then honestly, it's just a ready-made, I don't have to think about it. I'm able to pull that bag and then set up the investigation that they want to engage in during that week.
And so part of then Ms. Arnett mentioned the PD, the professional development. So part of that is instructing the teachers how to use the baggie to the best way to, okay.
Yes, so kind of twofold, looking at the teacher edition and how the lesson plan should run, and then what materials they need to be able to implement that effectively. And then a lot of how do we get that in the time we have, brainstorming, problem solving, thinking like scientists as we plan.
Any other questions? Dr.
Not a question, just comment. I want to say thanks to Taylor. But we've been in the middle of our into the first semester kind of roundtables at school, and overwhelmingly a theme I've heard is student engagement with these resources, the great work Taylor's doing, but also the doability behind it. I've heard that quite a bit, that it's very doable in a very tight day. The kids are engaged in it, and I know Taylor's put a lot of hard work behind it to try and make it successful. So we've had a really successful launch with it. So again, just echoing thanks for the board for investing in these materials and high quality materials for all kids.
And fidelity to that curriculum, because it is made in such an accessible way. That's absolutely incredible.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Taylor.
Appreciate it.
Thank you, Taylor. Great.
All right, next on the agenda is public comment, and we do not have any tonight. Consent items. Board, you've seen a list of the items on the consent agenda. Do I have a motion to approve the consent agenda?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Do I have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Long. Any comments or questions? All those in favor of approving the consent agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Consent agenda is approved. For our action items, first up is approval of the 2026-2027 school calendar. Dr. Duke.
Thank you, Ms. Chair. Tonight, we are presenting the proposed academic calendar for the 2026-2027 school year. This calendar meets all the requirements from the Tennessee Department of Education. The first few days of school for students, fall break, spring break, and winter break all coincide with the dates for Rutherford County schools. The calendar utilizes 4 stockpile days for professional learning, and 9 stockpile days will be saved for inclement weather, and I will speak on behalf of all teachers and hoping that we get to use all 9 of those. But to discuss this calendar more, I'd like to introduce Ms. Macy Barrett. Macy teaches at Bradley Academy and is also part of our Teacher Advisory Council. This calendar is developed in conjunction with our Teacher Advisory Council, and they are some of the primary voices when we create this. We also get feedback from school principals, and additionally, parent input is solicited for feedback. But with that, I'd like to turn it over to Macy.
Hi. Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Oh, that was so great. I'm so grateful to be here this evening, and I feel honored to stand before all of you representing the 2025-2026 Teacher Advisory Council. This year, an amazing opportunity was placed in my path, the honor of being a part of this council. Little did I know just how rewarding this would be. This experience has opened my eyes and unlocked incredible opportunities for learning and growth. As teachers, we understand that our jobs are made up of many different aspects. However, there are always lingering questions that surface in our minds as to why things are the way they are. By being a part of this committee, I have learned the in-depth workings of our district and have been able to collaborate with my brilliant peers to voice our fellow teachers' concerns and perspectives. Through this experience, we have learned how to properly advocate for topics we're passionate about through our teaching platforms. Every day, teachers experience many challenges and successes. We have a voice, but sometimes we don't fully understand the power of our voice or how to advocate for ourselves and what's best for our students. The Advisory Council has taught me how to use my voice as an educator to spark change and advocate within my school and our district in an appropriate manner. Every year, teachers anxiously await the moment the MCS district calendar is released. Thoughts such as, will our summer end early before August? Will we get a full week for Thanksgiving break? Or will we return to school after Memorial Day and keep going? Fill all of our minds. For parents, concerns about whether our calendar will align with the county calendar dates creates a sense of worry as they plan for their students' years ahead. As a committee, it was our priority to ensure that both teacher and parents' concerns were heard and taken into consideration. One challenge we faced while creating the calendar was determining how to appropriately allocate time for parent-teacher conferences in the fall. As a collective group, teachers wanted to ensure they could offer flexibility and give every student and parent the opportunity to discuss academic progress by continuing to keep a full day designated for conferences. As we collaborated and put the pieces together, we ultimately developed an academic calendar that we feel confident meets the outlined criteria and addresses the needs and concerns of teachers, parents, and students. This experience has been extremely rewarding and truly enlightened me on how difficult it is to create a schedule that meets the needs of all parties involved. I do not envy the principals in our districts as they create school-wide schedules and calendars. They certainly have their work cut out for them. My principal's sitting back there. Thank you, Dr. Lewis. As I reflect on these experiences, I am left feeling incredibly thankful for the opportunity to serve my district and my school on the Teacher Advisory Council. I'm truly grateful for the opportunity to represent this committee as we propose the 2026-2027 academic calendar this evening. Thank you all so much for your time.
Thank you.
She learned everything that she knows in 2nd grade.
Well, who's her teacher, Ms. Long?
Now, how would you know that, Miss Long? I mean,
Oh, mercy, mercy. Get deeper and deeper every time.
Barbara's showing her age.
Okay. If you'll wait right there for just a minute, let's do a motion and a second, and then we'll see if we have any questions for
Well,
you.
I'll make a motion that we approve the calendar.
I'll second it.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Campbell and
I wanted the credit for that one.
He can have
Give
it.
it to Jim.
Nah, I don't even want it anymore.
Pick one, Lisa. Okay. Any questions or comments for Ms. Barrett while she's here with us?
No, you did a fabulous job.
Thank you, Ms. Long.
Extraordinary. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, you definitely did a good job. You're talking about using your voice as a teacher and representing the TAC. Excellent job.
I also heard the phrase brilliant peers. I think we could say that over and over and over again.
Thank you.
Excellent.
Did being a student of Miss Long encourage you to be a teacher?
Oh, 100%.
Or did you do it in spite of?
Don't answer that.
No, Ms. Long is amazing.
That is
and
a
I'm-
loaded question.
I'm so thankful to be here, and I loved being her student. So it's very unique. Very
What a
wonderful.
cool moment, right?
Yes, sir. Thank you so much.
Okay. Well, we will let you step off the hot seat there.
Thank you.
No more questions or comments. All right, let's vote.
I guess I wanted to know how closely aligned is it? Is it pretty fairly closely aligned with the county like we normally do?
All the major dates are aligned, so first day of school, fall break, spring break, anything that might involve vacations, is aligned to the counties. Our teachers do come back one day prior than the county, but the first day for students, and that's what, again, the Teacher Advisory Council, they had several options. One was they liked having that extra day at the front end, so that our
Because they're more
teachers-
dedicated than the county.
well, I think it's just how. No, I would never say that.
Watch it, buddy.
But I would
Watch it.
But there's just
Only in some
But
cases.
by doing that, what it allowed us to do, and I think Macy spoke to it really well, is allowed us to have that the parent-teacher conference day twice, once a full day in the fall and a full day in the spring.
Yeah.
So our teachers are coming back one day early so they can accomplish that.
It's beautiful.
That's great. That's good.
Okay.
I love that we have a teacher advisory
Yeah.
I love
team. I
that
know that's
too.
been in place for a while, but that just gives the
That's
teachers
really good.
an appropriate platform to bring concerns. So
Yeah.
that's,
I always feel better about our calendar too,
Yeah.
knowing that it's been through the
Yeah.
teacher council. All right, all those in favor of approving the proposed school calendar for next school year, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the calendar is approved. Thank you, Ms. Barrett. Next on the agenda is approving a contract with Roberts Motor Company for a 2026 Toyota Sienna van for our McKinney-Vento program. And this is Dr. Duke.
Yes, ma'am. We are seeking approval for the attached contract that's in your packet with Robert Motors to purchase one 2026 Toyota Sienna 8-passenger van. The vehicle will be used by Student Support Services to transport students identified as McKinney-Vento students or students who are experiencing homelessness to and from school, and will expand the district's dedicated McKinney-Vento transportation fleet from one van to two vans as we continue to meet the needs of our students. As the board is aware, if a student is a student experiencing homelessness and if they do transfer, they are allowed to stay at their school of zone. So this allows us to transport them in a more efficient manner than sending an entire school bus for one student. The contract total is $40,511, inclusive of delivery and required terms regarding warranties, delivery, and compliance. And as if the board approves, delivery should be scheduled by the end of this calendar year.
Do you have a motion to approve this contract for the van?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Dodd. Second?
second?
Thank you, Ms. Long. Any comments or questions?
Yes, Madam Chair. Is the sienna actually the color sienna?
It is white.
I was gonna say, I bet it's white.
It's what?
White. Boring.
I have a question.
Yes.
Who drives, who actually drives it? It's not like a school bus driver, is it, or a monitor?
No, we do have a driver for it. They do have qualifications. They don't meet the exact qualifications of a bus driver, but I'm going to ask Mr. Barch to come up and kind of talk through that. And it actually gives us a little more flexibility with who can drive it. But can you talk a little about the qualifications they have to have and then what we outfit the van with?
Yes, sir. They still have to have a passenger endorsement to drive in the state of Tennessee. They just don't have to have the S, which would be school bus.
So they have to have a CDL to drive it?
No, it's the passenger endorsement.
A passenger endorsement on your regular license?
Yes, yes.
What is a
yes.
D, I think?
So, yeah, and then what we're gonna have, the cameras will be outfitted in it, and then it has radios as well. So it's not, I said camera, it's just a little van. So.
And so just from, I mean, in other words, the person or persons who drive those vans, that's not like their only job. All they do is drive around and pick up kids.
No,
They
sir.
do other stuff.
They're part of our bus driver team.
Got you. That's what
Yes, yes, sir.
Okay.
Any other questions, comments? Is this the kind of transportation with the story we heard with Ms. Blanchard being recognized as best of MCS, where she rode with the student being picked up at the hotel? Is this the kind of?
She was actually on one of our special education buses.
That's right.
Yes,
Okay.
but we have buses that also pick up at hotels as well. But that was a bus, but we use everything we can.
Sure. Okay. Any other questions, comments? Okay. Thank you, Mr. Parch.
Yes.
All right, all those in favor of approving the contract with Roberts Motor Company for the van, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the contract is approved. Next on the agenda, approving a budget amendment, differentiated pay adjustment for the best classroom.
Yes, ma'am. During the the April budget approval of this year's budget, the board approved including our best classroom teaching positions in the district's differentiated pay plan under our hard to staff category, which is a required state category. The district is recommending increasing the stipend for this position from $500 a month to $1,000 per month for the remainder of the school year, beginning in December. This adjustment will impact current teachers and help ensure that the newly added classroom is staffed with highly qualified personnel. It also includes a budget amendment which transfers $16,303 within the federal IDEA Part B budget, which is federal money designed for special education. There is no impact to the general purpose budget.
Thank you, Dr. Duke. Do I have a motion to approve this budget amendment for the differentiated pay for the best classroom?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson.
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Settles. Any comments or questions?
Question.
Mr. Settles?
How is the IDEA funds looking from the feds? I heard something about some cuts possibly coming to that particular part of the special or the Department of Education, since our illustrious leader wants to dismantle the Department of Education on the federal level. So my question is not necessarily on this, but since you mentioned IDEA, you just gave me a perfect opportunity to exploit it. Do we know anything about cuts to IDEA from the federal government going forward, maybe into our next year's budgeting and stuff like that? I'm just wondering.
So we have not received any information regarding cuts to the program. I do know that there have been they've released information that different title programs are moving to different departments, and I didn't pull all that up tonight, but for instance, I believe like Title I think maybe going to the Department of Labor, if I'm correct, but IDEA is still being housed under Department of Education. So the messages we have seen or have received indicate that there won't be significant changes to IDEA, but we haven't received anything to tell us otherwise.
Okay.
Mr. Richardson?
Yes, Madam Chair, thank you. I feel the spirit of Kim Williams. Maybe she's watching at home because my question is this reasonable and necessary?
Yes.
Very well. Thank you, Dr. Duke. Thank you, Madam Chair.
Any other questions, comments? All right.
Some positions that are hard to staff are just hard to staff, and they really are.
Sure.
And I'll speak up on behalf of teachers and administrators everywhere. They're woefully underpaid. If we had to pay teachers not just what they're worth, but just for the amount of time that they actually put into teaching that's outside of the classroom, we couldn't afford it. We just really could not afford it, even at whatever their pay is, you know what I'm saying? Because well, I see a couple of educators or former educators up here now that once you leave and go home, you don't get to just, lay that down. You have to still do stuff outside of work. So anything we can do to help staff some of these hard to staff positions I say we should do it and do it wholeheartedly, and my only regret, and I'm gonna vote for it, but my only regret is that we don't have more money to throw at this. Because these teachers work hard, and I'm saying that because I've had kids in the school system now. I know how terrible they are. I mean, my kids, I'm not talking about everybody else's, I mean mine. And I know how I was as a kid. Of course, it's been 1,000 years ago, and they definitely didn't pay my teachers enough. But I'm always gonna be in support of giving some money. I mean, we can't, I don't know what else we can do. It's out of our control, but yeah, absolutely. I'm sorry to ramble, but go ahead. I'll shut up now.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let's vote. All those in favor of approving this budget amendment for differentiated pay, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the budget amendment is approved. Next is approval of a contract for 2 transit maintenance cargo vans. Dr. Duke.
Yes, we are requesting approval to purchase two new 2026 Ford Transit 250 cargo vans for the use within our maintenance department to support facilities and maintenance HVAC services. These vehicles are replacement vehicles for vans that will be removed from service from the MCS fleet due to their age. The City of Murfreesboro Purchasing Department coordinated the procurement in alignment with the State of Tennessee contract with Lonnie Cobb Ford. A formal contract between the City of Murfreesboro and Lonnie Cobb Ford outlines the scope, price, and delivery terms, including the vendor sale quote for the 2 vehicles at a total cost of $117,306 combined. This will be funded out of county shared bonds. The board's probably aware, and we've had a conversation with a few of you, we have purchased quite a few vehicles. This is all part of our CIP that the board has approved, that City Council has approved. These funds have been approved through that CIP process. This is well within budget for what we were doing, but we did add earlier this year the 2 nutrition vans because we added 2 maintenance positions specifically for nutrition. That came out of nutrition dollars. A few meetings ago, I think you approved the 2 trucks we purchased for the fleet, and then these are the vans, which will then complete the vehicle purchases we had planned for this year, barring any unforeseen circumstances.
Got it. Do we have a motion to approve the contract to purchase the 2 vans?
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Do I have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Long. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, let's vote. All those in favor of approving the contract for the purchase of these 2 vans, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the contract is approved. Recommendation of the Zoning Appeals Special Committee. Dr. Duke.
Board Policy 6.205 requires that MCS have a zoning appeal special committee to hear zoning and placement appeals made by families. Applications for a hearing request are made within 10 days after an assignment, and board policy specifies that at least 1 board member must serve on this special committee. We bring this committee back before the board every December in preparation for the new calendar year. As in late January, early February, we will start opening zone waivers up for next year. Parents will apply through the process. If those are denied and they want to return it, it is this committee that will hear those hearings. Mr. Richardson, who has been appointed by the chair to serve on that committee, and then the other members are listed in your packet, and we're happy to answer any questions you may have.
Thank you, Dr. Duke. Do we have a motion to approve the recommended members of the Zoning Appeals Special Committee?
So moved.
Thank you, Ms. Dodd. Do we have a second?
Second?
Thank you, Ms. Long. Any comments or questions? Hearing none, let's vote. All those in favor of approving the recommended members of the Zoning Appeals Special Committee, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the committee members are approved. Next is a recommendation of the Charter School Review Team.
Board Policy 1.901 requires MCS to have a board-appointed review team in place in the event any charter school applications are filed with the school district. The role of the Charter School Review Team is to assist in reviewing and evaluating charter school applications and formally recommending one of the following options to the board for each application, to either approve, reject, or reject with stipulations for consideration. The recommended committee for the 2026 calendar year is found in your packet, and there have been no changes from last year's committee to this year's committee. I will say the deadline for charter school applicants to give a letter of intent to apply with the school board has passed, and we have not received any. However, we still have this team in place, one, to be in compliance with board policy, and two, just in case we were needed for some situation. I will say, although we haven't received any intent to apply, we do know that there were some changes to the law last year regarding charter schools that I asked Ms. Bush just to take a moment to explain exactly what happened to the law last year.
So we knew that there were going to be some changes to the charter school law. One of the public chapter 518 that went into effect for next school year, but does impact this authorizing cycle for charter schools, is that a public charter school may use a building within a city's geographical zone, if there is an existing city school system, which Murfreesboro City Schools would be that. If they are authorized by the county, which we do have some who are authorized by our county and not the state, they do have to be authorized by the county, and the charter school can evidence that they have a legitimate need for the additional space within the city. There are additional requirements, but generally speaking, a charter school that has been authorized by the county doesn't need to go through the city or the city school board for approval as an authorizer. It can choose to operate within the city school system, within the geographical boundaries, so that is new, as long as it can demonstrate the need and it is an existing charter school that's authorized by the county. So that was a change Public Chapter 518 made last year, and while it didn't go into effect this school year, charter schools are applying this school year to operate into the next school year, or can expand their existing operations into for next school year. So this would apply for 2026, 2027.
And I wanted to point that out just to say there have been some changes that we obviously will be watching. So kind of see how it unfolds, because it specifically addresses city school systems within a county government or in a county school system. So we have a great working relationship with the county schools. We'll continue to have that as we work through this. So I just wanted to kind of ask Ms. Bush to explain that just because we did not get an intent doesn't mean there may not be a possibility where we could have a charter school find a location within our city limits.
Thank you.
I have a question.
Let's do a motion.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. Do I have a motion to approve the?
I so move.
Thank you, Mr. Stettles. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Campbell. Take it away.
Thank you. I want to make sure I'm getting this because I'm a little sleepy. If the county school board approves a charter school, that charter school that has been approved does not need approval from the city school board to operate within the city school board jurisdiction. Am I getting it right? Is that what that breaks down to?
Subject to some conditions, but yes, that's correct. So like, let's say, for example, a charter school was authorized by the Rutherford County School Board to operate within Smyrna. And they said, we're full at our operation space in Smyrna. We have a lease with a building within Murfreesboro, and let's say it's next to Black Fox, right? Hypothetically. They would be able to, as long as they can show a legitimate need to expand, or that they need that building for purposes under this change in the law, they can do that without going through us.
And that would be their need to expand, not the need for there to be a charter school in our city, in our jurisdiction.
That's correct.
In other words, we've run out of room in Smyrna, and we've just got so many people begging us because we're such a good charter school that we want to now open a branch in Murfreesboro because Smyrna is overcrowded. And so we just got to have room, so let's put it next door to Butch's house and in the city jurisdiction. And so we have no choice or say in the matter because they would be governed then still by the county. Is that correct? County School Board.
Yeah, that's correct. The county would continue to be the authorizer.
Right.
So, and the law is pretty, I pulled up the law just in case there were questions, because I figured there would be from y'all. But the public charter school only needs to demonstrate that they need additional space to serve the students of the public charter school, and that's really all that the law says. So I do think that there's some gray area there that will probably work out in the next year or so. But I do think, to Dr. Duke's point, that you will see, especially for those charter schools already operating under Rutherford County Schools as an authorizer, there is less incentive for them to apply through us. And of course, we didn't get any letters of intent for this school year.
I think to emphasize, one of the things I really wanted to bring to the board's attention tonight is just there is a pathway there that was not there before. So we know the process we had done in the past about our stance as a board on the legal requirement of the jurisdiction. So there is now a pathway in the law, and nothing may happen with it. And we could be in the same place next year with nothing, but just wanted to bring that to the board's attention as we were reviewing this committee tonight.
Thank you, Dr. Duke. We've got several questions. So Mr. Richardson, then Mr. Campbell, then Ms. Dodd.
Thank you, Madam Chair. To Ms. Bush or Dr. Duke, has anyone from the county delegation to the state legislature reached out to anyone to central office about our input in this?
No, I can answer that.
Not to my knowledge. I will say the sponsor was Ms. White, who is one of ours. So that was something.
I'm not surprised.
This is Public Charter 518, Public Chapter 518, for those of you who'd like to review. And I can send it to the board, the state statute change to the board if
I've
you would
seen
like
it.
to read it.
I've seen it. I just wanted to know if we were consulted or considered. Thank you.
Not to my knowledge.
Mr. Campbell.
Even though this charter school may be housed within the city limits of Murfreesboro, and that's what we're saying they can do now, because they were approved by Rutherford County, they will be under the obligation and the direct result to the county. We don't have anything to do with.
That's correct.
There's still a county. What I want to say.
They're supervised by the county.
Yeah, they're still obligated under.
And there's multiple pathways, of course, for charter schools to get that authorization. So we have in the county now currently state authorized charter schools where the state is the authorizer. We have county authorized county schools where they are the authorizer. So it really comes back to who is the governing body that authorizes that school to open. They then have that direct oversight over it.
Ms. Dodd.
Yeah, I was just going to say, I could be wrong about this, and maybe I am, but I don't think they're busting at the seams at this point anyway, right? The charter schools that are opened up.
I don't have any data on that.
Well, I don't know. I heard something about, I don't believe they're busting at the seams. I know this gives them a pathway into coming and opening a charter school within our school district, and that bypasses us basically, because we don't have to vote on it. But I just don't think it's anything immediately that we have to worry about, because I don't think they're busting at the seams right now.
Well, I don't know that it's an immediate.
Right.
What I see is a pathway to say some students want to go to our school in Smyrna, but we're just not able to accommodate them in Smyrna. Because they live in Murfreesboro.
Good point.
So we just want to make sure, because what it says is that they have to show a need. It doesn't necessarily say because of space, right?
It says needs additional space, facilities, or buildings
Okay,
to serve.
okay. I'm trying to think like some of these lawyers up here, they rub off on me. They need additional space, not because they're full necessarily, because here's the little crack. They don't need additional space because they're full. They need additional space because some of these students that live in Murfreesboro are having a hard time getting to Smyrna. So since we're already authorized by the county, let's just open a school right here next door to Jimmy's house, because we've got some students down there that want to go, and we need the additional space to accommodate those students. So I don't think it's the busting at the seams part.
Yeah.
I think it's the space part that gives it that little window of opportunity to say, we've got to do it. It's just a workaround for the charter schools, thank you, Dawn White, to be able to come into areas where we have no say-so again in supervising or authorizing anything that these charter schools want to do.
A clarification question, if I may.
Mr. Richardson?
So, thank you, Madam Chair. So we will have no oversight, no inclination as to the quality of education, no insight as to what it is that they're doing, and a family would say, I'm going to school in Murfreesboro,
Yeah.
albeit a charter school, ostensibly, but to a lay person, to the public,
Yeah.
when they're espousing that they go to school in Murfreesboro,
Bingo.
there is no differentiation, yet we have no control, insight, an ability to make sure they're actually being educated, seen, heard, empowered. Am I understanding that correctly?
Yes, no oversight from the city school system.
Yeah. But the only good news is we don't have to take their test scores.
They open up, but they're
Yeah, they can ruin Rutherford County, not us.
answer to the county. They don't have.
just saying.
But not state authorized, right?
Condos going.
Not state authorized yet. Right now,
I was
it's
gonna
got to
say
be
yet.
county. It's got to be a charter school that's been authorized by the county. And it does apply to all city school systems, and there are
50.
Well, I'm gonna say
50?
that.
50.
50.
So
That are
across,
city, county.
that are city county. So it affects more than us.
Sure.
I don't think.
Absolutely.
The biggest drawback I see in this is if they have a location inside the city, and if they fail, who's gonna get the blame? Is it gonna be the county or the city?
The county.
It's gonna be the city because they're located inside the city of Murfreesboro limits.
And we got to scream loud to tell them that ain't our school.
I have just a couple questions. So, I'm a parent and I live in Murfreesboro City Zone, and I have an elementary school student who otherwise would be zoned for an MCS school, not a dual zone with Rutherford County. I live in the heart of the city. And let's say even a charter school that's in Smyrna, and it's been authorized by the county, do I have the ability, even though I would not be a Rutherford County parent otherwise, my limit is just to Murfreesboro City, to send my kid to a Rutherford County charter school, say in Smyrna?
Yes, and that also changed. So that was Public Chapter 388,
Do that, Curtis.
388,
County
and
taxes.
that went into effect upon passing last April. And it does allow for students who are solely zoned for city schools to attend any charter school within the county that's been authorized by the county, without being considered what's called an out-of-district student.
Okay.
What about authorized by the state?
Pop quiz.
Yeah. Sorry. Didn't mean to put you on the spot.
Nope, that's okay. It doesn't say state authorized, but I'm sure, I'm looking just to make sure I'm saying it correctly, but I'm sure
Oh,
it
next
would
year
apply
it will
to
be. Next
I
year.
was just curious.
It will be
state
next year.
authorized as well. And I think we did see that a little bit with the addition of Rutherford Collegiate Prep. They did take our students,
And they came back.
And they were state.
and they were state
Yes.
authorized.
So see, that did happen, yeah.
And for purposes of this vote, though, for approving our charter school review committee, so if this committee has no say at all, so even if it's coming in, we don't.
No, and a charter school would have had to issue a letter of intent that we would have had to receive by December 3rd of this past week, and that didn't happen. So we don't have any charter schools who will be applying before this board at this point. But Rutherford County schools may have received one, that to be determined.
Okay, thank you.
And I will say, to the extent that a charter school does change their location, they do have to let their authorizer know. And typically, the template authorizing agreement with the state is 30 days notice prior to a change in location. So we should know.
Okay, thank you.
Madam Chair, I have one final question, and I'm not going to belabor the point. Who makes the determination when it says if there's a need? Who decides that that need is legitimate or valid? Because we already know we don't get to decide on it. Who gets to say if this is a real need? do they just decide themselves and say, oh, we need more space, so we got to open another school in Murfreesboro next to Dr. Duke's house?
So that would really be between the authorizer and the charter school. And typically, generally, before this law was passed, the charter school did have to announce its intention on where it would build locally or where it would be located through lease. But that is included within the charter school authorizing agreement. Generally speaking, they're 60 pages long, but it could be done through addendum. So a charter school is authorized and able to change its location. It just has to give 30 days notice to its authorizer, which would be the county school system.
Thank you. Mr. Richardson.
Madam Chair, and as Mr. Settles said, this is my final comment. I am confident that our committee, Murfreesboro City School Board Committee on Charter Schools, will thoroughly, carefully, and contemplatively consider what it is that may benefit the students of Murfreesboro City Schools. However, this law is an abrogation and an undermining of what the people of Murfreesboro did when they elected us to be their voice for their students. This is an appalling law. It is overreach. It is state overreach. It is the opposite of small government and the voice of the people, and it continues to incur and encroach and undermine year after year after year, and it breaks my heart.
You're here.
Thank you. All right, let's vote on the committee. All those in favor of approving the Charter School Review Team Committee as proposed, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? And the committee is approved. Next is approval of the Revenue and Expenditure Report. Mr. Owens.
Madam Chair, can we approve his blazer, or is that?
Oh, I get
Whatever he
endorse
brings,
that.
we approve it, sharp as he
Take
is
that.
tonight.
Take that very easily. Good evening, board. It's been almost 2 months since I've seen you, so sorry I missed last month. In front of you, I have our revenue and expenditure report, and also passed out our internal school funds audit. Any decision on how you would like me to proceed? If not, I'll go over the audit real quick, if you don't mind.
That works.
Please.
So, Matlock Clements did finish our internal schools fund audit. This annual overview summarizes the collection, management, and use of internal school funds related to student activities, clubs, donations, and other authorized efforts for students and support programs not covered by our GP budget. This year, our internal school administration continued to strengthen their financial stewardship by focusing on procedures of receipting, documentation, reconciliation of funds collected. These efforts are focused on protecting student resources and management of funds with alignment to meet district and state policy. The revenue funds were generated through a variety of sources: clubs, ticket sales, PTO, etc. A few highlights that I picked out from the manual was Scales Choir, $6,700 of revenue; Bradley Drama, $13,000; Discovery Chess Club, which is a new club this past year, $11,000; John Pittard Student Council, $1,700. And then district-wide, we had student field trips of over $100,000. So a lot of kids definitely raised money to go on field trips. These expenditures from these accounts directly supported the students and other supportive activities, recognition events, clubs, and other activities. The audit, luckily, was a result of no findings, which we would be proud to acknowledge. And I would like to acknowledge our bookkeepers real quick. We have Joyce, Desiree, Beth, Tracy, Cindy, Melissa, who just retired, Ashley, Sherry, Melanie, Mandy, Diana, Kelsey, Allison, and Kim. Outside of that, this current year, we're focused on continuing to grow on our procedures, new policies that are coming in place, and focused on account balancing, monitoring to ensure the safety of our funds for the next full school year. And I'd be happy to answer any questions that you may have of the audit. I know most of y'all just received it tonight.
Got it. Point of clarification for y'all. Do we vote to approve the audit, or this is just an information item and we'll vote on the revenue and expenditure?
Yes, we'll vote on the revenue expenditure. This is just the presentation for the school's funds.
got it. Mr. Richardson, you had a question.
Thank you, Madam Chair. I just want to express my gratitude to Matlock Clements. They've done an extraordinary job since we've gone with them. I really appreciate that they're able to keep continuity with the city as well as the city school board. Their reports are always extraordinary, thorough, illustrative, and I couldn't show more gratitude for what they do. So thank you, Matlock Clements.
And they're a wonderful team to work with. I know our team up at the central office and our bookkeepers do enjoy taking care of anything that they need. So it does work out.
Thank you.
Be happy to answer any questions if you can't think of it at this time.
Madam Chair, I have a question. You mentioned PTO, and only because you mentioned PTO, not that you would necessarily know. Any school can have a PTO in our district, correct? Am I right? It doesn't matter title schools or whatever. Any school can have a PTO. It just has to, tell me the rules behind that, like how they get started and all that stuff. I want to go start one, but I don't know because I don't have any students at schools. But
Do you want me to start from like 0 and work up? Because there's a lot of rules when it comes to school support.
Give me the cliff notes on it.
So every year annually, we have what we call a school support organization contract that we send out to PTOs that have been acknowledged. Now, you have to register with the Secretary of State's office as a nonprofit organization, so they're legally separate from us. And then we enter into an agreement with them every July-ish first, and that goes through the entire school year, and it basically allows them to use the school's logo, it allows them to fundraise pursuant to our board policy. But there are specific requirements when it comes to who can serve as a representative. A board member is not allowed to, unfortunately. Yep. So it would have to be the president. You have to have a president. You should have a vice president, although it's not a mandatory role. But you have to have a treasurer. So you have to have at least 2 parents who are also always very busy. But then they take on those roles. But most of our school support organizations, our PTOs, have a president, a vice president, a secretary, a treasurer, and then you have to adopt bylaws, which we do provide draft bylaws for a school support organization that wants to get started. And we walk them through all of this process. We do trainings annually, and that would be something we could walk through if you did have a volunteer who wanted to do that for one of our schools. But we do have a lot of schools who are represented by a PTO.
But we don't provide funding for PTOs.
No.
At all.
No. They
completely
fundraise for us, yep.
From the parents.
Yes.
It's called a PTO, so the teachers, can teachers be officers in those? No?
No, well, they can hold certain, they can't be treasurer, and I'd have to look back at the rules for president, but there are very specific requirements. A bookkeeper can also, a school bookkeeper cannot be a treasurer. So there's very specific requirements for officers, and we look at that annually as well.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments on just this part? Well, it's so remarkable. We have 13 schools, no findings from any of those. That is just amazing work from the teams in the front offices. So
that means we've got a good team in the finance department that's leading everybody. Thank you, Mr. Dan Owens.
No, it's more my team and the bookkeepers, I promise. I do get to meet them, one of them at least once a week, so it is a pleasure to go out and visit with them and talk about the issues or things that they're dealing with every week. So
I think he just nominated him for the best of MCS.
Moving on.
I think we've got that report, so if you want to move on to the expenditure and revenue report.
So up front here on the first page, you have your comparison of budget totals. Obviously, I was not here last month, so I did exclude September on the chart. I will give you that number now if you want to write that down. At the end of September, our expenses was $23.8 million, and our income was $19.2 million. So if you follow along that progression from August, September, and October, we're consistently keeping a $3 to $4 million gap, which of course we budgeted a $5.9 million gap for the end of the year. Obviously, we're a little tighter on that as right now, current projections, but hopefully that trend will stay. That way we won't go as far into fund balance by the time we finish the year. Outside of that, our revenue report, there's only 3 lines that really stand out with percentages. The other local revenue, that is due to interest in investments. Roughly that is $372,000 $100,000 of that. The other one is other state education. That is the bonuses, which I discussed last time we met. And then the career ladder, that is just circumstantial. We're a flow through, so nothing that really pertains to our revenue or expenses. On the expenditure report, the Board of Education is 50%. That is your department. That is workman's comp. That's about $80,000 more than last year. That is us just being careful to make sure that we are overfunding instead of underfunding, because you do not want to receive that invoice at the spring workshop around April and have to find another $100,000. And then our capital outlay, a lot of that is transferred over and roll over from projects at Ridgely and Reeves Rogers. And I'll be happy to answer any other questions.
Madam Chair, I have a question.
Let's do our motion.
Oh,
Do
I'm
we have a
sorry.
motion to approve the expenditure and revenue report?
So moved, Madam Chair.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Do we have a second?
Second.
Thank you, Ms. Dodd. All right.
Sorry, he said any questions and I just jumped. Does the city of Murfreesboro collect impact fees with new houses?
Yes.
We do. Oh, I could have asked you, I'm sorry. Because I remember a time they were talking about, all these new houses and places and things are being built and not getting enough money. Does any of, impact fees do not, where do the impact fees go? They don't go into, do they go into general?
Expenses, an impact fee has to have a direct correlation with what is funding. So when you have an impact fee, it goes directly to whatever that would be, whatever infrastructure, schools, parks, roads.
Okay, that was my question. I was wondering, because I see a lot of houses being built and I want to make sure we're getting our cut, that's all.
I will say they do have that set aside in a special revenue account. We actually presented to the city in our CIP, and we're going to use for one sped bus this coming year.
Okay.
With some of that money.
Okay, cool. Now, do we get impact fees only from single-family homes or also from whatever? I know you said it depends on what it is, like apartments that are built. Is the impact fee the same, or you understand? You follow what I'm saying?
I understand there's a lot of different kind of construction, but I'd have to look into that.
Okay.
I'm not sure. I'm not positive.
Okay.
Any other questions or comments? All right, let's vote. All those in favor of approving the revenue and expenditure report, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? The report's approved. Thank you, Mr. Owens.
Thank you.
All right, reports and information. Enrollment report. Mr. Rocha.
Good evening, Board.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have the pleasure of speaking with you about period 3, which is about partial month of October and November. If you give me just one moment, I'll go ahead and pull it up. I'd like to start off with we have grown. So as we look at period 1, we're up by 23 students. You have additional information and handouts that are available to you, but I'll just give that high-level overview. So we're at 8,938 students at the end of period 3. Period 4 ends on Monday, so we'll have an update when we come back in January. Our average daily attendance is decreased a little bit. When we compare to last year, we're actually in a better place. So we're showing improvement there. When we look at our chronic absenteeism, this is 6+ days based on those 60 days. So we have 958 students. When we look at truancy, we have 48. We typically see that those trends, I call it the X, they kind of move in different directions based on that. And then our enrollment, looking at our PTR, we are at 18.3 with just a slight increase overall of 0.05. We'd be happy to entertain any questions.
Any questions? All right, thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Report from the TSBA Leadership Conference and Annual Convention. This is me.
Who all went? Oh, just the girls.
Just the girls.
We did, yes. So Jeanette, Ms. Price, Ms. Long, Ms. Dodd, and I went to the Tennessee School Boards Association Annual Convention and Leadership Conference, which was in November at the Opry Land Hotel, and we learned a lot and voted on the agenda for TSBA for the next legislative session, and I'll let Ms. Dodd or Ms. Long, if you want to add something to.
We didn't get arrested.
We did not.
Stayed out of trouble. Yeah, no, it was really good. It's informative. I enjoy going, even though I only get to go on Saturday because I gotta work. But anyway, it's always fun. It's also good to be with other board members too, because, you know, we don't ever get to see each other. And so it's a good time for us to, you know, just connect and be nice to each other and all that.
We're
But-
just glad you all four behaved.
Of course we did.
Hey, we
Yes.
hadn't got any reports yet.
So anyway, Barbara, you got something
Yeah,
to say?
it was good. I mean, very informative. The keynote speakers were pretty good. There was one 15-year-old, 14-year-old keynote speaker.
Wow.
He'll be the next president at some point.
He was really impressive.
Not the next
phenomenal.
one.
Well, eventually.
Eventually. Down the line.
Eventually, the next one.
Yeah, he was very good.
Yeah, so the kinds of things we learn are, you know, leadership skills, things about running board meetings. We learn about new laws that have come up. We hear from other school boards about interesting things that are going on in their districts. And so it's just, it's,
Technology.
What to do, what not to do.
so it's
Did you come away with any doubt that the board that you're currently serving on is the best one in Tennessee?
I will say that every time I get with other school boards, I'm very grateful for the 7 of us.
Me too. Yes.
And our focus, I really am. So,
Some are very troubled.
Yeah, that's every time.
Well, thank you, ladies, and thank you for representing the best of this board, I think,
Staying out of trouble.
and staying out of trouble.
all right, our next update is the director's update. Dr. Duke.
Yes, just a few updates for you tonight. Ms. Van Cleve put a couple things at your station tonight, one of those being the budget input sheets. As we've talked about in some of my communications via email, we are starting the budget process for FY27, which is kind of hard to say, but that's where we are. So this is the first chance for you if there's anything you want to flag for us before we start having more individual conversations, and so I just wanted to flag that for you. And to end on a high note, you know, I have to say a couple things. We've done a lot of celebrating over the last few weeks, and I do want to celebrate Miss Emily Spencer because she's in here. She was named our Principal of the Year for this year. So we had a great time. Emily, Miss Spencer, I say is a principal's principal. You walk in that building and she just does an absolutely tremendous job, and she is very well deserving, and I'm so glad that our fellow principals and central office staff recognize that. So shout out to you, Ms. Spencer, and then have to also say congratulations to last year's Principal of the Year, which was Dr. Caitlin Bullard, who's also here tonight. The way it works is we elect a Principal of the Year, and then it works through the process, and then the next year it's up for the state recognition. And on Friday night, Dr. Bullard was named the Middle Tennessee Year. So they elect a West Tennessee, and East Tennessee, and a Middle Tennessee. So for her to be recognized, again, incredibly deserving, so intentional in the work she's doing and the difference she's making for kids. And it's just a huge spot of pride for us as a district. And I told Dr. Bullard Friday night she kept the tradition going, because since I've been here and I started tracking, we had the Middle Tennessee Teacher of the Year, followed by Mr. Barch, who was Middle Tennessee Principal of the Year, followed by Dr. Presnell, who was the state level Supervisor of the Year, followed now by Dr. Bullard, who's Principal of the Year. So for the past 4 years, all of our teachers and principals who have gotten those recognitions has won at the state level. So incredible place of pride for all of us. So congratulations, Dr. Bullard. Congratulations, Ms. Spencer.
Congratulations. That's amazing.
And to Julie Seymour, of course, who was also recognized Friday night, who was our classified employee, one of 2 in the entire state for the Classified Employee of the Year, the RISE Award, and she will go on to compete at the national level.
Yes, you will.
Outstanding.
Nice.
Thank you all very much.
Excellent.
All right, do we have any other business to come before the board tonight?
We want to be in prayerful thought for Jeanette
Absolutely.
with the loss of her father.
Her husband's grandmother.
Yeah,
Husband's
Yes.
grandmother.
death in the family.
Yeah, so they've had some of that this fall, a couple
They
of
have.
losses. Thank you, Mr. Campbell.
Thank
Anything else?
Nothing further.
City's Christmas parade this Sunday, 2 o'clock. City's Christmas parade, so,
Oh, what time? Is it 2? 2 o'clock?
2 o'clock.
It's 2 o'clock this. We used
This
to
Sunday.
have a float or something in the Christmas. Is Lisa Trail here?
So we will not, the city schools as a whole will not be participating in the city schools parade, but I'm not sure, and Lisa had to step out. I think we may have a couple schools that are in there, but we will not have the bus.
So you're not going to be on a float, is that
I
what
will
you're
not be
saying?
on a float this year, but I can promise you
I'm a
there'll
little
be
bit
excellent
disappointed.
floats.
The book bus used to be in the parade.
Yeah,
I
book
think.
bus.
Yeah.
Motion to adjourn.
Well, I'll tell you what, Mr. Settle, we'll let you walk the parade route and have on your Murfreesboro City School.
I'm happy to do it, except on such short notice, I don't know if I can. I was going to suggest, because you've got the white hair, all
my
you got to do is
Lord.
let your beard grow out, and you could, you know where I'm
You've
going.
already got the white beard, just dye your hair white.
I'm not.
Okay.
I renew my motion to adjourn.
Thank you, Mr. Richardson. Dr. Duke, if you could let us know about if you learn
Yes,
what
I
will
will
be,
send that to the
what
board Friday.
representation
Yes,
we'll have
ma'am.
in the parade. We'd like to
Yeah.
know. All right, we've got a motion to adjourn. Do I have a second?
Yeah.
Yes. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
Thank you, everybody.
You're adjourned.